Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I like to welcome you this morning here in Budapest. And Charlotte, Jan and I, we like to travel together with you into the future this morning. We want to show you how the audio world looks like in 2025. But before we start, I have to go back into the year 2017 when this exciting project started. In autumn 2017, I visited the market research fair research result in Munich in Germany. Maybe you knew this great marketplace and event for market researchers. I was walking around and looking for new partners, for new interesting approaches and methodologies. And then I discovered a research company with the name comrecon from Austria. By this I met Charlotte the first time, and I left the exhibition, her exhibition, with a writing pad like this. You see this mapping on it, and with this small bag of Lego blocks. I was very impressed. I was thinking, and it was a very interesting situation that Jan and I have discussed 2 days before about a common study we should do. A study which can describe the future of radio, the future of audio. I left her exhibition and immediately I took my mobile phone and I phoned to Jan. And within the next weeks, we met 2 additional times, we 3, till the end of 2017. And then we started the very exciting adventure we will show you. We instructed Charlotte to realize the study till March 2018. And now I give over to you, Charlotte, please.
Okay. Thank you, Uwe. Yes, it was really exciting for us meeting Uwe at the Research and Results in Munich. When he said he saw these bricks, we had these bricks with us. So the big bricks, so we're not playing with these, but these bricks are a good eye catcher and it worked with Uwe. And it was very nice because he said, okay, you have this land, this nice book, and I want a study which looks like this. I said, okay, it's the first time we would do this, so think about it. And we thought about how can we do this. It was a real challenge, but we took it, and I think it was really great. And I want to show you how we did it and what we thought about and what was the study design. So there were some questions they asked us when we started the study. So the main question was, how will people use audio and audio content in the future? And the future is 2025 because everything else is too far away. And there were 4 sub-questions we had to answer. So what does the current audio landscape look like now? So you can only understand the future if you know what's happening now in the present and what happened in the past. So where does it come from and where does it lead to? The second question was, how do users think it will change in the future? So 2025, maybe it's far away, but it's 7 or 8 years. It's not so far, but there are technological developments, and you have to think about how will it change. And what is the role and relevance of radio? Because they are from RMS and RD, so we have to say, okay, what's the relevance of radio and the other audio channels, both now and in the future? And of course, how can advertising be integrated into the audio world in the future-proof manner? So these were the 4 sub-questions. There were many, many more, but these are the main questions we had to think about. And we thought, really, how can we do this? So how can we answer these questions? We took the challenge and we thought, okay, we cannot do this with focus groups or something like this. We have to think about a more creative design, more creative methods. And we mixed 2 methods, which maybe are a little bit new to some of you. The first one are online forums. So we conducted 2 forums with ages 16 to 52. So we covered the generations X, Y, and Z. And 12 days of daily use. So I come more into it in a few seconds to this method. Just to see how they use audio in the present, in their daily rituals, in their daily habits, what are their needs, their wants, their beliefs. And also from the past, so where do you come from? Are there milestones in your life where you changed your audio usage and your audio experience? And the second one was Lego Serious Play. In this case, we conducted 2 Lego Serious Play workshops in Munich, also aged 16 to 46, to see, okay, how can we shape the future? How can we build a vision of the future landscape? So these 2 methods we mixed up, and I want to tell you something about the 2 methods. Maybe it's a little bit interesting how we did it. So the 2 online forums, what is it about? I don't know if you know online forums. Online forums are very powerful because we get so much qualitative input out of the recipients. So we have more than 3,000 comments, qualitative comments from the participants, from about 100 people conducting or doing the study with us. Why is it so powerful? Because it's spontaneous feedback wherever and whenever you are. So you only need internet. And then you can do it via your smartphone or your tablet or your PC or something like this. So whenever you want, whenever you're in the situation, say, okay, now I'm using audio. It's interesting. I have to discuss or do my exercises, my daily exercises. And all end devices, straight from everyday use. So not on the focus group on Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. So every day, I'm now in a situation. I have to talk. I have to discuss. And this is very powerful to be in the daily business of the people. So what are they doing now? And what is going on in their heads? And they can also answer questions which are 3 days ago. So when you're in a focus group, you go home and say, oh my God, why didn't I say this? Making the unknown more tangible, not only for us, but also for our participants, to say, okay, oh, I did not know that I listened to this radio station or that I would do this and this. So the subconscious comes up and becomes more clearer also for the participants. And we had a high involvement because of intrinsic motivation. And I think this was very tricky because Uwe said, okay, we don't want to pay any incentive. We want intrinsic motivated people. That, oh my God, normally we pay about 50 euros per recipient. And in this case, okay, we don't have to pay anything. We may not. We're not allowed to. Okay. How can we do this? So we recruited the people really through the topic because they were interested in audio and audio usage and how can we talk about my audio habits. And what we did was not giving cash or money to them, but we said, okay, 3 of you, of these 100 participants, can win a Sonos speaker. And this was everything. It was very expensive Sonos speaker, so you say, okay, I'm interested in the topic, and we got very good qualitative statements and comments out of this, because I'm interested in the topic, and maybe I can win a Sonos speakers too. That's good. And I want to show you some insights, some comments of the community. So more than 3,000 comments I can show you now. But some of them maybe are a little bit a glimpse. You can have a feeling. So Carmen says there will always be radio in the future, but the way how the program will be transmitted, this will change. Or Marcus says radio plays an important role in my life. So in the morning I start with radio, I go into the car, listen to radio, I go home, I also use podcasts. And Alex is talking to the audio fairy. This is also a nice thing in the online forum. Say, okay, what about if the audio fairy comes to you and you have 3 wishes? And he said, I wish my music was personalized, more individual, more than it fits to my personal situation. I also want to share it with others all over the world. It's amazing to share different audio contents. And I would like my music to follow me in every room. And it's something like this. I know your mood and I play the right music for you. And everything has to go automatically. And also we asked him on day 10 to draw a picture. So maybe they talked about many things they discussed. And we said, please draw a picture of an Audio Planet 2025. And it was amazing what came up from them and how creative they were. And this was a very good basis for our Audio Planet and our mapping, which we will show you in a few minutes. And the second one was Lego Serious Play. So I would like to know who of you knows Lego Serious Play. Maybe you raise your hands. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So maybe you say, okay, it's absolutely crazy. Playing with Lego bricks in a focus group, what's this? It's a really serious method. It's also in the name Serious Play, so you play really seriously. It's a management method which is used by Google, Microsoft, and other big companies to think about how can we create new strategies, how can we create the future when we don't know how it looks like. So it's a perfect tool and method to find out more about the future, to work with the subconscious system, bringing out more of your inner self and of what's going on in the world. It's a moderated design process. It's not just like, okay, you go there and create something you want to. It's a moderated process with a very strict time boxing. So I have the questions, you answer, but you don't answer via, as you do normally. You have the bricks and you build models. And then you have the storytelling, you have the linking of hand and brain. And this is very powerful because when we use our brain, it's just a rational system. We think. And linking the hand means you connect to another area in your brain, the limbic system. And this is very powerful because when you don't have the answer to the question, you just go there, take some bricks and build something. And it's amazing what comes up to your mind when you start doing something with your hands. So the rational system works then too. Is okay, it's interesting, I built here something and I tell it to you via metaphors and stories. So it's about story making and metaphors. So a stone is never a stone. So this can be my house. I can say, this is my house. And the fourth thing, this is my dog, this is my cat, this is my partner. And you have to believe me in this process. And then you say, okay, it's the house of Charlotte. That's interesting. You will never forget it. So you have a picture in your mind, and that's the powerful thing. When I tell you something, you will forget it in 10 minutes. So, and if I say, okay, this is the brick, and this is my house, you have a picture of it. You have an emotion, you have a feeling of it. So, and it's also a co-creation through prototyping. So in the first rounds, you model your answers with the bricks on your own. And then after 3 hours, we go there and say, okay, now we build a common model. We built the common model of the Audio Planet 2025. How does it look like? Maybe it sounds a little bit weird for you. We have a video which I cannot show because it's in German, but we give you some snapshots of the process so you can see it. Here you see the Lego buffet. Here they go there and they take out the bricks. We had 2 Lego Serious Play workshops in Munich for 4 hours each, 7 and 9 participants, also generations X, Y, and Z, just to shape the future and look, what will Planet Audio look like in 2025? So this was the main question and they worked it out and it was really amazing. And I think Jan can show you some impressions of this process now, because he was live there. I was there.
Yes, like Charlotte just mentioned, I think it sounds interesting. It sounds a bit weird, maybe to you too, maybe a bit esoteric. You're not sure what to expect. And that was the same feeling that Uwe and I had. So we said, we have to be there. We want to be part of it. Not as participants, of course, but at least sitting in the background, watching the entire thing. And some of our team members from the research teams were also there. And I must say it was, for all of us, a really fascinating experience how people accepted this method and jumped right into it and really had a lot of fun and a high level of engagement in building and doing something and then explaining it. And so we got a very good impression of the process. And from the workshop I attended, I cannot remember a single statement, someone saying, this is ridiculous, why should I play with Lego now, or something like that. No, everybody just fell back in their childhood probably and just stepped right into building something. Here are some impressions. I will not read the statements, I'll just give you a couple of seconds. And like Charlotte has mentioned, after building it and after everyone was finished, you had to explain to the team what you did and why and what you think your model tells us about the future or a specific part of audio consumption. So this is about the central device, the phone as the center of everything or almost anything. A lot of statements and models were about target groups, different needs served to different people in specific situations, tailored to their needs. This is a rather critical one about the traditional role of radio, which is part of the future probably too.
This is the spider and this is radio.
Yes, the web that's covering the good old radio in this case. We liked this image very much as well. This is about advertising. The elephant is the big old advertising world, which is covered by a net because it comes across in the future in a different way according to this person, more personal, more customized, etc. And a final example that even went so far as saying it's not about the smartphone, it's about wearables or even specific ear devices in the future. So after all these individual models were built, they were then combined to form a super model that covers all aspects by the participants about the audio future, and then it was up to Charlotte and her team to bring it all together and analyze it, and this is what we're going to look at now.
Yes. So we want to invite you to take you on a journey to Planet Audio 2025. And as Jan said, yes, we put it all together. This was too early, but thank you. A wind is coming up, yes. It's getting windy now. We will show you 3 maps now, and these are mental maps. So it came out from these online forums and the Lego Series Play process, and we built 3 maps about the past, the present, and the future of audio usage. How the people feel it, how the people imagine it, how can it look like. And I think it's interesting to see, and we start with the past. The past, yes, you will see it's not so far away. And now, please, the sound. Yes. It has to work, okay. Yes. First was the wind.
Incidentally, I'll do the first map because it's just like me. It's old and analog, I should say. So what you see back in the 80s, there was one huge land mass covering the entire audio planet or radio planet back then. And this supercontinent was called or known as Analogia. And the countries which made up this continent were FM-mania, Vinilis, Cassetonia, and CD-istan. That's what we coined them. And the borders between these countries were pretty much open and unguarded because peace prevailed over the planet. And the entire population primarily used the same audio channels, and so there was a sense of togetherness and sharing the same audio-radio world. The climate was gentle and warm, but also changeable. Nevertheless, the people were quite comfortable and felt good. But then, the rise of the internet gradually started to bring about change in the climate. The sea levels and the climatic conditions in the countries started to change. And then it happened, as you can see in the next map, that small pieces of land gradually started to split off and drift away in different directions from this once united continent. And this brings us into 2018.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome in 2018. A continental drift happened, a climate change. All this happened because of the rise of internet and the rise of smartphones. There have been very differences in the audio usage. You can see one continent, Radio Europe, and Romania, very different. On Radio Europe, the biggest country is Romania. It still exists. It's established, it's stable, fruitful, but it has a little bit of technological backwardness. It's conservative, quite old-fashioned, but people are hardworking and pleasant. Because of the changes of the climate, we see here a small country, Bulgaria. It's progressive and highly technological, but the future of this country is uncertain. Where Draper has a very modern image. It's highly developed, it's progressive, and the people who are living there are very international and heterogeneous. From that continent, Romania is quite different. Romania is very unconventional. People are always having a happy life there. And for example, it's an exciting and amazing place where people are very, very funny. As you can see, on both continents, rivers flow out from a lake commercial. And they pass through the countryside, and these rivers, they represent a steady stream of mass advertising. In addition, you can see some islands, Podcast Island, Audiobook Island, and Playlist Island. They still are there, and for example, Audiobook Island is a very good place as a holiday destination. We have other parts of the world. We have Venice, whereas this city is done, which gets a desert. Here we have an ice desert and we have Videolands. They do not play a very big role in this situation in 2018 of the whole continent. But now next we will see how it will change within the next 7 years. Charlotte?
Okay. The sound was perfect now. So 2025, what changed? So we had another climate change in the last 7 years. Coming up from, you heard the wind, we call the wind Alexa, you know, the weather forecast stations, they have always names for winds and climate zones and something like this. So this is the wind Alexa, standing for this voice, now I lost the word, these voice devices, just like Alexa and the others you have. So in the future, everything is this one device we saw before, also in the Lego series process. They said, okay, there will be only one device, maybe it's a smartphone, but we don't know. But there's one device which can be used for managing your life and your audio consumption, and you play your playlist wherever you want, whenever you want. So you're independent from time and space in the future. So what you can see here, you see these borders, but there are no borders anymore because you can travel just like a little bit like beaming. So you don't have to move like you had to in the past, because you can be in a Musictopia and you can travel also to Romania, but you don't have to go there. So with the one device, you can do everything. And what happened? What you can see here, the continents merged, because before we had this Radio Europe and we had Romania. These two continents merged in the future, so it's one landmass. And what happened here, this is very important for this. The Media Librana is an artificial land of Romania, so they had to to connect to Streamania, to be part of the future, because in the 2018, the people said, okay, we don't know about FMania, so maybe it will get a little bit littler, a little bit smaller. But in this case, when they have this media library where you can play music whenever you want, you have the radio sessions whenever you want. So it's radio on demand, it's possible whenever and wherever you are. So this is the connection to the Streamania continent. What can you see there? The lake commercial has changed. It's not as big as before. It's like we showed you before in the Lego series play process, this big elephant with the net over it. So this is the thing. So advertisement is also here, but it's changed to these little ones, and it's more individual, as you can see here with these rivers running through the houses, with this different pools. So it's individualized in the future. So you get only what you want and what fits to your personal motives and needs. Dapteria Plus is here, but the future is uncertain. So also in 2025, they say, okay, I don't know. It's very politically engaged. And Webrapolis is a little bit bigger now, and the simulcast hills are very important, because this is where you can connect to the famous people, to the VIPs, where you have this international connection in the future. St. YouTube is very interesting because it had this birth explosion. There are many young people living there who are a little bit superstitious, so they want to have the happy life. They're not interested in news. So the people here in FMania are more interested in news and to be serious, and also a little bit focused on negative headlines. So up there, they're not. So they're not really interested in news. They're really interested in music and happy life and do what you want. You see here, Spotify City is the biggest city here, and it's important because there is where the young people live and where it's very vibrant. What you can see here, the change, Audiobook Island is a little bit bigger than 2018. So people really love to go there, to go into another world, to have holidays and some nice excitement. And Podcast Island, 2018, Podcast Island was not really visible for the most people, just for some nerds, I would say. But in the future, Podcast Island is very important. It's an emerging island, emerging market in the future. And you see here, we have bridges from different countries going there, because people like to share the knowledge. They want to find out more. They want to discuss. So there are people who are very open-minded and very critical. What else changed? Okay, Videoland stays the same because of the technological influence. And you see here, Preserve with MP3 and CD-Stan is getting smaller and will sink into the sea. Vinylis is interesting because you can fight you through the jungle, go there, and you can find some exciting things. So Vinylis is maybe a country which will sink into the sea. I don't know when in the future, but not now, not 2025, because it's interesting to go there, and parents like to bring their children there to say, okay, this is where audio comes from. You have to experience this. And very interesting is this island too, Silent Island, because the people said, okay, when we live in this world, everything is noisy. Everywhere and every time you have audio content going into your brain, it's too much. We need an island where we can unplug from this daily noise and where we can have these natural voices, or this is why the dog is here. So you have the wow, and so you have the birds and the dogs, just to unplug, just like a retreat as we do it now, to unplug from this crazy world. So 3 maps. There is so much information in it. We cannot give you all in this 30 minutes. What we have with us is the map of the future here. So if anybody wants, but it's the German version. So the namings are a little bit different, but I think you will remember because of the mapping, the visual impression. But if you want, I can give it to you. And now come to the end. So in a nutshell, what's the vision of the future of the audio users in 2025? First, autonomous use and multi-optionality become important. There is only one device which you can use for everything. So this is a really big picture, the one device. Maybe it's not the smartphone, maybe it is, we don't know.
Third, radio and digital streaming services merge and complement each other. The content becomes more relevant than the channel. Fourth, radio can be customized. Content and advertising is specially tailored to and are played for the target groups.
Yes, number 5. Search a number of media libraries and podcasts. Radio on demand becomes possible everywhere and to everyone, and to tie in with our personal daily routines and situations or touch points. And finally, we are permanently connected, and music remaining one of the major social glues that tie us all together all over the world with all sorts of different music styles. So that's the big picture. We have a special website dedicated to this study. It's planetaudio2025.de. And for your convenience, we have just added an English version yesterday. So you will find an English button on the website. And so you will have all the maps in the English version and also detailed written explanations to what we have just presented to you in a nutshell. Now, as you can see, this is not your average sales study or case study, so it's a different approach here. We've presented it already at a number of conferences to clients internally, to program people as well, who are obviously also very much interested in getting a glimpse of the audio future and, for example, how FM and Spotify relate to each other, questions like that. Charlotte will also present it at Radio Days Europe in a couple of weeks. And so this is not really a sales study, obviously. It's more an impulse thing, an inspirational thing that we think can remain for a couple of years to go back and see what will happen. And we are very much open to revisiting this audio planet maybe also over the next couple of years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for this very entertaining and interesting presentation. I'd like just to know, you were talking a lot about personalization of input like content or advertising. First of all, is that what they expect or is that what they wish? My first question. And the second one, if they want this, are they, did you get any results of it that they are willing to give their data?
Mm-hmm. Two very good questions. So I think the methods were so good because it wasn't only what I wish, but it's also because what is in the society happening. Just the Lego Series Play is just about me, but also about the society. So what do I think where the future will go? And regarding advertising, it's okay, they don't like advertisement. They hate it. So this was the big elephant in the Lego Series Play process. They go, okay, there's the big elephant. It's annoying all the time. But in the future, when they make it, to personalize it, and with this net over it, and it comes more undercover in my household and my personal beliefs and needs, then it's okay. But the second question you ask is the discussion we had, and you remember it maybe. We had it afterward, after the Lego Series Play session, because I think Jan asked them, okay, the same question, what about advertising? And I say, okay, maybe I can, I don't know if you say, I can buy me free. Do you understand it? Yeah. I can pay for not having advertisement to buy me free. I don't know. So you pay for it not to get advertisement. So they don't want it. But the other question is, okay, big data and your everybody knows your preferences, so they don't want it. So this is where we have the problem, because they want to have it individualized, but they don't want to give their data. Yes, that's a problem. But I think 2025 it will be. You cannot escape from this future development. I think they know that it comes, but they don't know how to avoid it. But they don't want advertisement. You have to be creative in the future. Is this right?
Yes.
Good morning, thank you. My name is Philippe Generali with Media Monitors. Congratulations, I concur. This is a terrific presentation, and I particularly enjoyed the story aspect of it. Instead of going through bullet points, you guys are telling a story, which makes it great. I have a boring question about the methodology, but I still want to ask it. How did you recruit the people? Who's the universe of respondent? I mean, there's obviously a vast difference from asking a radio station to advertise to recruit people, or if you take a page in an old-fashioned newspaper to recruit people, or how did you find the people to respond to your study? Who are they?
So normally, or in former times, when you paid incentives to participants, we recruited via online panels, so panelists. But in this case, we said also we don't want to have this market research experts who go there because every Friday they are in this focus group getting money for it. So we didn't want these people in our discussions. So we said we want everyday people. We want the people out there. So we recruited in different ways. So the first was via the stations, via Facebook, internet, social media. Also we had Facebook ads. So it was a very big part of social media, because they had to be connected to the internet. It makes no sense if you're only reading newspaper and you have no internet connection. And the third thing was spreading it through the network I have and our panel we have already in Germany, which are not really market research experts. And I said, okay, you can share it if you know somebody. So it's also the snowball effect to say, okay, if you want to be part of it, then spread it to your friends. And this is where we got so many, wie sagt man denn, Bewerber? So many, people applying for the study. And it was amazing. And this is the part, because I don't have to take these people who say, okay, I want to. I have a huge amount of people. I don't know, we had 200 or 300 or more people, I don't remember, where we pick out and say, okay, what are the screening criteria we need to have a good diversity of people in ages, in sex, in psychological criteria. And local criteria to say, okay, all over Germany we want to spread it. It's not representative, statistical representative, but it's psychological representative. And that's for me very important. Thank you for the question.
Do we have other questions? Maybe
so we are here the whole day.
Maybe just last one from me for Uwe. Do you think, and maybe it's just a speculation, if at the workshop it was media buyers and agencies and media experts rather than listeners, would the maps look the same? Do they have the same perception of the audio future? Sorry.
It's speculation. As what we've just seen in Andra's presentation, we've seen similar studies. Media people are not normal, right? When it comes to their consumption, to their devices, to their expectations. So they tend to be on the innovative side and away from linear consumption and things like that. So I would guess that they are also in audio as well as in video a bit more advanced than the average population. And I'm also the first to admit that by sampling these people and looking for people who have an intrinsic motivation to talk about these issues, that we are a bit more on the advanced and higher affinity side than in the average population. So that's something to keep in mind, but as we all know, it helps when we look at the future to start with today's, let's say, early adopters and people who are already a bit more advanced and experienced in all these devices and things.